Hi, this is Ron Darling.
This is Skip Lockwood.
Hi, I'm Ron Swoboda of the 69 New York Mets, and you're listening to MetsMusings with Gary Mack.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of Mets Musings.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new edition of Mets Musings. I hope you're all doing well out there. Well, the Pete Alonso era could be over for the New York Mets. The news breaking just a while ago has what the Mets perceive to be a last-ditch effort to sign Pete Alonso. They offered him a 3-year contract in the $68 million to $70 million range, and that was rejected. And so the Mets began their pivot immediately towards Plan B, according to the New York Post. The first step in Plan B was to add another bat, and they did so by signing Jesse Winker to a 1-year contract at $7.5 million. With bonuses, he could earn up to $9 million. They now will try to bolster their bullpen by playing at the top of the relief free agent market. And that means going after the number one asset available, Tanner Scott. The Mets did not send out a statement that the Alonso era is done, but have come to believe internally within the organization that without a late inning, if you will, change of heart, Alonso will sign elsewhere. Now, if you remember, the Alonso camp had made the Mets a 3-year proposal with an average annual value way beyond where the Mets were comfortable going for the 30-year-old first baseman. So the Mets countered with an offer that would be worth more than 3 years at $60 million. That's the offer that Christian Walker signed with the Astros this offseason. The Mets' offer also included opt-outs for Alonso that, if he rejected and stayed, would have carried the offer at least slightly beyond $70 million. But Alonso was looking for more, and the Mets came to believe the gap was going to be just too great to close. Thus, they signed Winker to his deal, and he will be probably the DH or sharing it with Starling Marte, but unless they can move Marte. The lefty swinging Winker, the outfielder designated hitter, agreed to the 1-year deal. He is 31. He saw his production drop a little bit when he came to the Mets after a hot start in the first half with the Nationals. But he picked it up in the playoffs with a 1.168 OPS in 10 postseason games. He'll provide an extra outfield bat as the Mets decide what to do with Starling Marte. As we just said, they could move Starling Marte, they could release him, or they could see how he works out and trade him in season. There's a lot of different ways that they can go. So what happens to first base? Well, they've put out some fielders for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. There's a chance that they could work a deal with Toronto. Odds are that's not going to happen. It would be a blockbuster and be interesting to see if it did indeed occur. But the plan for now is to move Vientos to first base and have a Batty and Luis Angel Acuna and the returning Ronnie Mauricio to battle it out at third base. And the Mets hoping with the addition of Soto and maybe a healthy Marte and some of the other bats, Vientos, can repeat what he did last year, they can make up for the power that they'll lose with Pete Alonso. So, it's time to say goodbyes, it looks like, to the polar bear. He had an offer out there. You know, you have to wonder, is this Alonso or is this Boris? Look, he is not getting $200 million or $100 million over for 3 years, whatever he wanted. He's not going to get that huge contract. People are afraid to take a chance on a 30-year-old first baseman whose numbers have been declining. You know, and it's been over the past 3 years, especially with the batting average. Had it been the last season, you could say, well, you know, he had an off year. But it's been consistently over the last few years that the numbers have dropped. Yes, the home runs are still up there, though they did drop this year. And the RBIs have dropped. But it's the precipitous drop in the batting average that concerns people. And his defense is okay. It's not great. So he's not bringing you value there. And also his base running capabilities. He's not a speedster. So he doesn't have the extra oomph or the extra thing that's going to say, well, yeah, okay, he's 30, but he still got the power and everything. The power could be the next to go, and then where would JB if they make a big signing? So the Mets wanted to sign him. They made an offer that they thought was fair and generous, and he refused it. And so we'll see what happens. He could cave in, and I'm sure if he came back to them and said, you know what, I'll take your offer if it's still available, I'm sure they would welcome him back and give him that offer. But, you know, you never know. Sometimes you make your bed, and you got to lie in it. And this is the thing with Scott Boras as an agent. To me, he's hurt a lot of guys with his holding out for the most money, the big money, and telling these guys what they want to hear instead of telling them what they should hear. That, hey, you're not going to get it. So we'll see where this all, you know, the turn that this will take. But as of right now, it does look like the Pete Alonso era with the New York Mets is over. So it's goodbye, Pete. Hello, Jesse. The Mets did manage to sign their 6 arbitration players. And they were Paul Blackburn, Tyler McGill, David Peterson, Jose Siri, Tyrone Taylor, and Luis Torrens are all been signed, so the Mets have no need to worry about the arbitration this year. They had 6 eligible players, and they signed all 6, so that is a good thing. And as I said, they are moving on now to look at the high-end relief market. So we'll see what the Mets do with that. All right, let's take a quick break and be back. Watch this.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
Okay, and we're back. And one quick note before we go, and that is that Major League Baseball and the world in general lost a character today, a baseball legend, if you will. Bob Uecker, the backup catcher turned Hollywood star and the legendary radio voice of the Milwaukee Brewers for more than 5 decades, has died. Uecker was a career 200 hitter, but gained fame thanks to his quick wit. Nicknamed Mr. Baseball by no other than Tonight Show host Johnny Carson, he made over 100 or so appearances on late night TV. Euchre also starred in a popular series of Miller Lite commercials. Remember those? I must be in the front row. And starred in a popular ABC sitcom, Mr. Belvedere, and in the Major League film trilogy. He was the announcer that was drinking in that. So that's his career. He authored 2 books, hosted Saturday Night Live and WrestleMania, and famously graced the pages of Sports Illustrated as a septuagenarian in a Speedo. He played 6 seasons in the major leagues with the Braves, Cardinals, and Phillies, and then failed it as a stint as a Brewers scout, but became an announcer, and he became the voice of summer in the Midwest. He joined the Brewers radio team in 1971 and launched a second career in broadcasting that led to the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame, the Radio Hall of Fame, the National Sportscasters and Sports Writers Association Hall of Fame, the National Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame, and the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown as the 2003 recipient of the Ford C. Frick Award. So Bob Uecker, always a character, funny guy. Always loved his appearances on the Tonight Show or just Mr. Belvedere. If you can check it out, I'm sure it's streaming somewhere. It was a great show, funny show, and sad to see him go. But he had a terrific life, and our condolences go out to his family and Bob Uecker, dead at the age of 90. Okay, well, that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. Quick little show. I hope you enjoyed it, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. And then if you're listening, please subscribe to the channel on YouTube, or follow us on Rumble, or if you're listening on your podcast app to the audio version, please subscribe as well, so you'll always know when a new edition of Mets Musing comes out. And don't forget, you can leave a comment too. Doesn't cost you anything. It's free. So leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the show, what I could do different, what you like, what you don't like, and I'll try to get back to you if I can. So until next time, keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets. And I'm Gary Mack, and I'll see you next time on another edition of Mets Musings.